If you've ever heard of the guided missile flown by Kamikaze pigeon, or the machine gun mounted on a scooter, join us today as we nervously peer through the fog of war and reveal the wackiest military apparatuses created. The largest military hovercraft in the world, named after the bison, and can transport 3 completely loaded tanks, 10 armored personnel carriers, or 140 paratroopers, has been terrifying coastal communities since the early 1990s. Welcome back to another exciting video from Tech News Expert. Today's video is about craziest military machines in the world. How do they compare? Before we start the video, please like, subscribe, and press the bell icon. It has a 33-person crew and 5 gas turbine motors, each producing 12,100 shaft horsepower. When it gets into an SCR, it screams along at an energetic 55 knots, or 63 miles per hour, due to these enormous 5.5-meter propellers. ZBA can deploy 2 AX-style 6mm Gatling guns, 2 faster 4M surface-to-air missile system, and 2, each cylinder swung 6 clumsy 30mm cannons, along with 2 Ogun 22-round, 140mm rocket launchers for destroying beach fortification. Z can also drop sea mines. It enjoys charging around on the ground as well. Give it a vast distance. What's more awesome than a gun? The Rye Boulder Quinn. 12. Edward II of England used the truly ridiculous requirement, also known as an organ gun, for the first time during the 100 Years' War. There are 12 iron barrels with small calibers lined up in a row. The notion that even if one barrel misses its target, one of the others will most likely hit it is effective as a deterrent. Frightening French knights are riding immaculate white horses while wearing armor. Despite this, the quiz had a significant flaw. After that, you could only discharge it once. By the time some poor sap carefully muzzle-loaded all 12 barrels, your sneering adversary would have either fled or brutally murdered you, or possibly both. The Vespa 150 Tap is a motorcycle with a bazooka attached. What might fail? The Vespa Touch was merely a transient wheeze. It was developed in the 1950s by the French Army. It was a Vespa used by ordinary people with an 82 inches gun sticking out the front. They were made to be slyly dropped behind enemy lines by parachute. The Vespas were supposed to be dropped into fruit. One would have the enormous gun, and the other would have some extra ammunition, and a tripod for a machine gun. The quick couple could move to a favorable location, assemble their supplies, construct their anti-tank weapon, and raise Mary Hill. Gases from the bazooka's fuel could be vented out the rear. Therefore, there needed to be more Therefore, it could even be fired in an emergency while a scooter was moving. Sounds crazy, but between 1956 and 1959, a company named Atelier Deconstruction to Automobiles produced 600 Lu-class Aeroplan. The Aeroplans would be much more well-known if a perfect society existed. These ground-impact vehicles are planes built to fly at very low altitudes. Meters. It is much more effective than high-altitude flight, travels farther than land transportation, and can transport enormous loads across oceans. However, they are also perilously prone to colliding with objects, including unforeseen waves. The Soviet Union developed the Lung-class military Aeroplan, the largest and most ambitious Aeroplan ever, in the 1980s, going by the intriguing secret name Project 9. It could transport about the same bulk of 100 tons. Elon Musk is attempting to launch Starship into space. It was fast and capable of flying under the hostile radar, making it the ideal weapon for blowing up warships. With 6 missile launchers spaced along the rear of the fuselage, the Aeroplans could sink an aircraft carrier with just one P-270 Mosquito-guided missile. The 8 jet motors on the Allen could, incidentally, it could travel 1,000 miles on a single gasoline tank, but its 242 feet length and 144 feet wingspan made it awkward. Additionally, this concept was never given off because of the intrinsic dangers of flying at low altitudes. The rocket launcher. The Soviet Union faced a challenge as the Cold War conflict progressed. The US was considering launching a preemptive attack and knew exactly where its nuclear ICBM silos were. Where on a train could the Russians conceal their priceless missiles? A frightening, completely operational, and practical atomic battle station with 99,000 miles of railway lines across the country for shunting around these so-called sites. The military was never supposed to disarm the United States Senior, which was a crucial advantage. Ingenious ingenuity was used to create sites. At the time, liquid fuel propulsion was favored by the Soviets for their rockets. But that wasn't a positive thing because it was highly volatile. Suppose the railway ride was to be choppy. Also, remember that this 23.3-meter-long Maz missile carried 900 Hiroshima bombs worth of power. It took creative solutions, like this space-saving inflatable nose cone, to fit that in a train car. Thankfully, it was the only component that caused the bird guided to explode before all of that. The US faced a completely distinct challenge in 1943. Step forward with your plan for correctly teaching missiles through hostile Nazi territory. He had observed that pigeons appeared reasonably adept at navigating while pottering in the garden of the unflappable B.F. Skinner, a famous psychologist and inventor. He suggested hiring 3 trained pigeons to identify military objectives from a distance. and fiercely peck at cables that are connected to the brave targets. The pigeons would perish in a coop, but the bird heads would direct the missile and, hey, presto, triumph. Skinner received $25,000 from the National Research Defense Committee to prototype his idea, which needed more test success. Unfortunately, no such weapon was ever used. Large canine. You've probably seen those adorable Boston Dynamics robots backflipping to upbeat chart songs while grinding. Imagine, though, if the Army had one instead. Big Dog was designed to serve as the pack horse of the 21st century, lugging heavy supplies and ammunition over treacherous terrain in support of human troops. Top brass somehow judged them to be too noisy for combat and canceled. Fear not, Ghost Robotics, a different U.S. company, has only added a large rifle to its back. The Spur or particular purpose unmanned rifle limits a 1,200-meter effective range, a sight with a 30x optical zoom, and a thermal camera for nighttime targeting. Consider that a threat. Imagine what the Chinese are likely working on behind closed doors. How do you feel? Aware of any other militarized minds? Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content.